the mighty Castelluzzo, just near the valley capital, Torre Pellice. Hoping to avert disaster, the Waldenses sent 2 of their number to meet with him. If the Waldenses had hoped to intimidate Cattaneo with their forthright approach, they had sadly misjudged their man. Dividing his forces in 2, Cattaneo directed one company to march up the Pellice Valley, attacking the villages of Villaro and Bobbio and forcing the inhabitants to flee to the mountains. The other company he determined to lead up the Angrogna Valley right to the Pra del Torno, where he expected to link up with the others. In his day, the road to the Pra was nearly blocked by the barricade. This was a steep rampart that crossed the valley, its only entrance being a path so narrow that barely 2 men could walk it side by side. Today it is wide enough for motor traffic. Here at Pra del Torno, the Waldenses assembled for one final stand. But before they did, they committed themselves to God in prayer. Would an angel be sent to block the invaders' path? Or would the flickering flame of God's truth finally be extinguished? As Cattaneo's army prepared to enter the narrow pass, the Waldenses noticed a small cloud forming on the nearby mountain peaks. It rapidly grew larger and darker until finally it tumbled down into the valley. The dense fog caused immediate confusion. Being at an advantage in the changed conditions, the Waldenses climbed the secret paths above the invaders and began hurling large rocks on the soldiers below. In the ensuing panic, Cattaneo's forces began to fight one another until scarcely a man remained. By 1530, news of the Reformation that was sweeping Germany, Switzerland and France reached the people of the Waldensian valleys. It came at a time when their morale and numbers were low, but hearing of this new army of champions helped remind them of their past glories. The Swiss reformers also rejoiced to discover a biblically sound church with such a long history. It was resolved to convene a general synod to determine the relation between the Church of the Alps and the Reformation. In 1532, the historic synod met at Chanfran, in this open field not far from Pra del Torno. While not everyone agreed on all points of doctrine, the Bible's preeminent place was reaffirmed. The Waldenses pledged to contribute to the Reformation a translation of the Scriptures into French. The task was given to Olivetan, a relative of John Calvin. It was an appropriate gift from a church whose very existence down through the centuries was due to a strict adherence to the underlying principles of this book. Tragically, the persecutions against the Waldenses did not cease with the Reformation. In fact, in the years that followed, they became more intense, reaching their climax during the 17th century. Time has healed the scars of the great massacre of Easter 1655. However, its memory is indelibly etched into the very rocks and crevices of the mighty Castelluzzo. This plaque indicates the location of the cave at the foot of the Castelluzzo that so often protected the Waldensian people during times of persecution. And in late Easter 1655, the people of the valleys fled to its refuge once again. But this time, they were discovered. One by one, men, women, and children were dragged from its depths and thrown over the awful precipice. All of Protestant Europe reacted with grief and sympathy. The blind poet John Milton wrote one of his most powerful sonnets as a memorial to the martyrs of Castelluzzo.
Avenge, O Lord, thy slaughtered saints, whose bones lie scattered on the Alpine mountains cold, even them who kept thy truth so pure of old, when all our fathers worshipped stocks and stones, forget not. In thy book record their groans who were thy sheep, and in their ancient fold, slain by the bloody Piedmontese that rolled mother with infant down the rocks. Their moans the vales redoubled to the hills, and they to heaven